Yes, people, big up yourselves. I hope everyone's good. We are back with another one, and as you've probably seen by the title of the video, today we're going to be doing a full review on the Utillian 850. Before we go any further, you know the drill. I need to tell you, don't be taking any advice from me, whether it's legal, medical, or anything otherwise. I'm literally some random geezer on the internet hitting record on his phone and talking about his experience. If you need to go and speak to a professional, whether that be a doctor or anybody else, go and speak to them, mate. Don't be taking any advice from me. I can't believe I have to say it sometimes, but it's got to be done. So big shout out, people. Here we are anyway. We're going to go straight into this review. So this is the Utillian 850. Off the bat, looking at it, I'm not going to lie, it's a sleek looking small device, easily fits in your pocket. And from reading the specs, there's a lot of good things to in its favour, shall we say. They thought about clearly. So it's a hybrid of conduction and convection, but it's actually got a dual heater system on it. So there's two different heaters inside the oven. So basically, I'll just show you quickly. The oven is in the top here. You snap this off easily. It's like a magnetic thing. Inside there, you've got a gold lined oven. Every bit of metal on this that's around that area is all gold lined, whether it's the screens inside the oven, the mesh down the bottom, it's all gold. Now that's called gold sync technology, I believe. Yeah, there it is. You see that there, gold sync technology. And essentially what that does is helps with the even conduction of the heat. That's where you've got conduction and convection going on in here. So you've got the hot air that comes through the bottom, which is your convection. Here's your opening. And you can have an adjustable airflow there as well, which, you know, personally, I think that's a great feature. Some people really don't like that closed airflow. Some people really don't like that opened up airflow. I would say, to be honest with you, I mostly like it that sort of much. So quite closed off, considering you can go all the way like that. I just find it to be a bit too airy when it's like that, and you don't get as much production of vapor. But I don't know, it's each to their own. But the fact is, you've got that option on there. So then you draw that hot air through here, and that goes through the heater. Sorry, you draw the air through there, goes through the heater, makes it hot air, which then passes through the material and helps with the convection vaporization. However, the chamber, like the oven itself, the lined walls get hot as well. So it helps to cook it from every angle. And then they've got sensors in here, right? Mad. This is like the thing with these Utillians, they go the extra mile. Like it's German and Canadian engineering and design. So, I mean, it speaks for itself in a lot of ways, especially with the experience that both of those countries have in different elements to come together and make something like this. I think it's going to be good in it. You'd hope so. So basically, yeah, you've got your dual core heaters, one that's heating the oven and one that's heating the air. And then you've got your gold line chamber, gold mesh. What that helps with is to keep that evenness. And then you've got sensors inside there. So if you're even taking a big draw and you're reducing the temperature of the heaters, it senses that and it ups the temperature that it's putting out to make sure it's a consistently even temperature across the entire chamber at any one time. I think they just thought about that extra bit, and I think that's, yeah, it's decent. Now, what I'd say is this is a powerhouse. If you're new to vapes, this is probably not going to be the one, unless you're coming from already smoking. If you're coming from already smoking, I think this could be a good shout. However, if you're not, it can be a little bit too much. It is very powerful. A lot of people are going to hear that and think, sound? That's, you know, I wasn't sure if it was going to be as powerful as it was, and trust me, it is. It's got a good amount of vapor production. The thing that's the cooling unit on it is this top piece here. So what happens is you just take this O-ring and screen off, and then you pop the cooling unit out. That comes out there, and it's a zirconia airway. So it helps to cool it down. It helps to, you know, basically allow you to take that bit of a bigger draw. However, it does also come with a water pipe adapter, which obviously is going to allow you to cool that little bit extra. This is dead easy to change, literally just pops off the top. I'll show you now. Just pull that zirconia mouthpiece off, take this, and boom, sits straight on top, and then the magnetic piece sits back in. It's a cool looking device. It functions nicely. Like these guys' tagline, in fact, I just want to say this, these guys' tagline is function and form. They put it on all their devices, and so far, there's definitely some pros coming into it. Like I say, so it cooks very evenly. One thing out of all vapes I've ever used, this thing cooks super evenly. Like, you will never ever empty it out and the material's got little spotty bits throughout it, or even if you take a massive you know, extraction in one go, it still won't have that spotting and unevenness throughout it. It will always have that evenness. And I've put it to the test. I really didn't think that would be true, because that's one thing that's really stood out to me. Another thing that stood out to me is how easy to use it is compared to some other vapes, right? So loading, for example, it's got this kind of funneled area. You can see that on the top there? Yeah. It's kind of like a funnel, and then there's your oven. You can literally just take your grinder, tip it up like this, and just load it in. And then quick tap, and you're good to go. You can pop the lid straight back on, and that's it, it's loaded. Unloading, as soon as it's roasted, because it's roasted so evenly, you don't get any stickiness, and you can literally just go boom and tip it out, and it's done straight away. That's something that's really stood out to me with this thing. Another thing that stood out to me is the way the temperature control works. So because the heating is so accurate with all these sensors and stuff going on inside, you can select different temperatures on the front, and as you cycle through them, it literally will 100% stop vapor production once you've vaporized everything that's available at that temperature. There'll be nothing. Whereas some other vapes will continue to get that little bit hotter as residual heat builds up in the oven, and it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter inside there. Doesn't happen with this. It is bang on where it's saying it is, or at least it seems to be. So you go from 160 all the way up to 230. However, this is actually a hybrid device. So not only, let me just turn it on. You just hold that middle button there. I'll show you there. It's got like the little Utillian logo comes up. It's really cool. So it's got a herb setting. As it's heating up, these wings just start flapping. I think it's cool. They've also got a wax setting. This allows you to go to 255, I think. 255, yeah, degrees centigrade. And we'll go on the herb setting, and it's up to 230, I believe. Yeah, 230 degrees centigrade. And if you tap it 3 times, you go to this display, which is like a sort of like a clock revving up, if you like, on a car or something. It shows you the temperature you select in the middle, and as it's going round and the wings are flapping, it's getting to the temperature. And then as it gets up to temperature, which it's about to now, I say that, let's go to the other screen, and you can see the current temp, yeah, 196 and 199. Now I've noticed it gets up to temp really quick, and that last couple of degrees to get it to where it needs to do till it buzzes and says it's ready, there we go. It just takes that extra bit of time. And I think that's because it's getting the heat evenly around it before telling you that it's ready. That only happens on the first heat up of each session, if you like. Once you've used it and took a draw and you adjust the temperature, it will just heat up to it in one thorough motion, because it's already warm evenly around the whole thing, and it will basically just get it up to that temp and buzz when it's ready. Very, 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 very fast on the heat up in comparison to a lot of stuff. And the one thing I'd say about very fast is the reason why I'm saying that, the first draw that you take off it is probably one of the highest production of cloud that I've seen on a vape on a first draw compared to anything else. Normally you need 1 or 2 draws to just get it going. If you've been a vapor for a while, you'll know this. The only thing that isn't the case with is like a ball vape. But obviously you can't carry around a ball vape with you everywhere, unless you're talking the hot sticks, which is a different category in its own. But any battery vape I've used, you're always, I should have said that to begin with, any battery vape I've used, yeah, you're always going to have to give it a couple of draws to get the heat through the material. Not with this. Not with this. It seems that instantly when it's ready, and I think it's to do with that couple of seconds where it's heating up. You know, like I say, it climbs from 0 to, say you've got it set at 200, it'll climb from 0 to 196, 197 in very, very few seconds, maybe 15, 20 seconds, something around that. Depending if you've already used it or not. But anyway, you'll climb to that, and then it just gives that extra few seconds for it to go from that to the 200, just evenly does it. And yeah, it's like I say, when you're taking a draw from it, especially if you're using it with this water pipe adapter, you can clear that entire oven in 1 to 2 draws, which is, you know, that's tiny mite levels, that's ball vape levels. There's not a lot of vapes that you can do that with. And I'll be honest, the size of the oven in this as you just seen there, it is a big oven. It does take a lot, and you don't have to fill it all the way, which is the great thing. So yeah, I'm just going to pop this mouthpiece off because I don't want to break the glass. And we'll put this zirconia one on. Like I say, look how easy that is, mate. It just literally slots on and off. Oh, and then this top piece is magnetic. So it's very powerful. It's very fast extraction. The one thing that I'd say it does well, but could be a bit better on, is the flavor. Now, I think that's to do with it having the zirconia cooling unit. There's only so much cooling it can do. So those higher temps, you definitely want to be putting it through water, as with a lot of vapes. But the flavor is good. It's very good flavor. But I'd say something with an all glass air path, it just has better flavour. I wish there was like an option to replace the cooling unit with an all glass air path, or it maybe came with one, because the way Utillian do this, they send you everything with it. You know what I mean? You've got the water pipe adapter with it. You've got all the bits and bobs you could need for, say, the O-ring and the screens. These will have to be replaced over time. And speaking of which, this is something you need to watch out for if you're using one of these. So this screen, it pops off like that, and the O-ring, and then they come separate, right? Just like that. Now, if you've used this a couple of times, if it's been used, not a couple of times, but quite heavily throughout a day or two, and you've not, you know, cleaned it out, which I know is easy to do, but I've noticed it will build up quite quickly with the residue here, and sometimes as you'll pull this off, the O-ring will remain in the unit, and that'll take the screen with it. So that's a sign you need to clean your vape. If it's been heavily used, like I say, over a couple of days, that'll happen. If not, you've got longer than that. You know, it just depends how much you're using it. I noticed, because I was using it all day for 2 days, in fact, I think it was, before I went to the event in Chester. When I went down to the event in Chester, big up Pierre and Nathan for trying to help me, and Ish, Mum was trying to help me find the screen, because basically right near the end of the event, at some point, it had been used a lot. I let people try it out as well, and basically, yeah, it ended up popping off, and I didn't realise, and it was too late. I found the O-ring, but I couldn't find the screen, so I had to wait till I get home. Luckily, they send you a screen and an O-ring in the box, so it's not the end of the world. Obviously, you can get replacement screens as well. They are these gold mesh screens, like I was saying. I don't know if you can see the colour there, but yeah, it's golden. So they send that in the box, which is great, but that's something you've got to watch out for. Other than that, I'd say I struggle to find many bad things about this device. You could have a replaceable battery. That would be good, actually. A replaceable battery would be good, just because it extends the lifespan of the device itself, and it allows you, if you run out of battery, to carry multiple. But I'd say the battery life on it is really good. It's 5,000 milliamp, it says on the bottom here, and it's USB-C charging. Now, the battery life, you just tap the button, and it tells you the percentage there. So I've got 12% in there. You're gonna get, depends how quick you take, you know, going through the bowl. If you're going through it in 1 or 2 draws, you're gonna get way more. Depends on what temperatures you're using as well. But I'd say you easily get in 10, 12 sessions out of that on an average session. You get more or less depending on, you know, how you're doing it. But I tend to get like 10 or 12 out of a cycle on a charge, which I think is pretty decent. Again, if I'm trying to savour it, I'll just ramp up the temp and go through the bowl as quick as I can. Sometimes that's what you're doing anyway, is, you know, you're in a rush moment and you can just go for it quickly. This is what this is great for. Like I say, it's very powerful. So someone who's new to this, on the higher temps, it's going to be too much for them, and they're going to want to only run it on the lower temps. So yeah, but I'd say, like I say, it goes up to 230, so you're going to be able to get all them terps out of it that you need to get before you ride onto that level of combustion, which I just think is fantastic, man. I do feel they thought about a lot with this device, even down to the coating, right? This is one of my only gripes with the design of the device. It looks beautiful. Like, I like the matte texture. You can see it's matte, and it's got this grippy material on it. It looks good, but personally, I just would prefer it without it. I heard Cupins saying that apparently he'd spoke to them about this, and they said they're going to release an anodized version or some sort of anodized device. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to ask him that myself. I literally seen it a couple of days ago when he said that. But I think, yeah, that's my only gripe, is this stuff on the outside. It looks brilliant and it's great, but you need to be careful not to get ISO in it like I did, and you'll mess it up. It's easily done when you're cleaning the device with ISO, so I think it's one of those things. And also, you got to be careful. Like, it's natural to maybe try and bang this against there. You are going to chip away and make marks on the coating. The rest of the device, pardon me, the rest of the device should be fine, but you'll potentially chip away at the coating. Maybe that was just because mine had, you know, bubbled with the ISO. I don't know, but you need to not get any ISO on the outside of this device and the top piece here. Read the instructions before you clean and just read them thoroughly. They do explain it to you in there, but not everyone did check that out. So to be fair, the instructions were on a QR code. I think that I would prefer the instructions to be physically in the box as well. I do think that's, yeah. That's just me. Maybe that's just me because I'm unboxing it, and I don't know. I think, yeah, I just think the instructions being in the box would definitely help. But that being said, the device itself, that's all I can say bad about it. Like, there's not a lot. The coating I'm not a fan of. I wish I could replace the battery. The flavour could be a bit better with a glass air path, but it's brilliant flavour. The power on it is where I thought it was going to lack, and it was so much more powerful than I believed it was going to be. In terms of, like I say, you can empty the bowl in such a quick time, and if you want to sip away at it, you're still only going to get so many sips. Basically, you can set this to a temperature, and after a few sips at, say, 160, 170, you're going to have taken pretty much everything that's available from it at that stage, depending on how much you filled the bowl. Now, again, the bowl can be filled right up or partly filled. It doesn't make much of a difference. So that's something that, you know, depending on how much you do or don't want to use. I think basically this device, they've kind of, it's easy to use. It's something that I've gone back to time after time after time, whether I'm in or out the house. I've got other options to use. And yeah, sure, I wanted to get a good review on it and I wanted to get a good use out of it. But even after getting to the point where I feel like, yeah, I've tried everything I could try with this, I've put it through its paces, I'm still using it because it's just easy to load and it gives such good vapor production. It's very fast at what it does. And it easily just fits in and out your pocket. You don't have to worry about having glass with you, which again, that's the trade-off. Like I was saying, okay, it doesn't have glass air path flavour, but you don't have the concerns of carrying glass with you, which I don't really like dealing with out of the house. It's much easier to not have glassware out of the house because accidents happen, things break, and it's just that little bit easier if you've not got glass involved with stuff. But yeah, that's just a trade-off. The same thing with this coating. It's a trade-off. Do you know what I mean? It's grippy. Like, I'm trying to pull it out of my hands there. If that was a different device, it would slide easily, but you get a good grip on it because it's got this like grippy, soft rubber texture. But you've got to be that extra bit careful with how you care for the device and cleaning it. So yeah, none of this stuff has put me off using it. Same way with no replaceable battery. It's not put me off using it. I just think, how could I improve this device if I had the opportunity? And that's what TVape said to me. Let us know your honest feedback. Give us your honest review of what you think of it. And that's what I'm trying to do, people. That's all I can do. It's 319 quid. It's not a cheap device. There's a lot of devices out there. They're all for different people. But do I think it comes in at the performance for the price bracket that it's in? I do. I'm not going to lie. I do. I do think that rubber O-ring could be maybe a little bit tighter, but I have changed it for a different one and it seems a lot better. The main thing seems to be if the device is not clean, that easily pops off, and that's kind of a sign to just clean your vape. So, you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. You just got to be careful with that. And I'd say actually as well on the bottom, this airflow restrictor, I guess you got to be, I'm always closing it when I put it in my pocket, just because I don't want anything going up into the airflow because the heater's there. Be cautious if you've ever using it and, you know, like you blow some air through here when it's empty and it's just been used, because the hot air will come out the bottom. It is very, very powerful. There's two heaters in here. You've got all that gold sink going on to, you know, keep the heat evenly distributed. So even if it's just been turned off, it's very hot inside there. But yeah, overall, people, I'm very, very impressed with this vape. It's super powerful. I love the screen on it. Like, the screen's just really handy. It's easy to use. The fact that you've got them two different settings on the screen, you know, with the seeing the two temperatures, I'll show you again. So there's it just turning on at 35 degrees. Oh, it's on 80 now. But yeah, that's the heat it's at. That's the heat that you're aiming to heat to. And you'll see again, it'll do the same thing. It'll get near the temperature and it will slow down the heating process just to make it completely even. And now, just to be clear, the magnet on the top's strong. Not that you'd be advised to do this, because if I shook it, I reckon it'd drop off. But I'm holding the vape by this mouthpiece right now, which is held on by a magnet. Yeah, so it's got to 195 and it just pauses there. At them last degrees, it'll jump up really quickly. So I honestly think that's it just evening itself out. I think it's cool, the wings just flapping away, like, it's sick. And like I say, this can be used with concentrates as well. You can put it in the concentrate mode and you can really push them temperatures that further bit up. There you go, and it's up to temp, and that's it, ready to go. I think that was maybe 20, you'd have to have a look back. It's not a long heat up compared to some vapes, or like say a ball vape, for example, which you're gonna get that performance and that quick one and done. You need to wait 10 minutes for it to heat up, or you need to leave it heated on all the time, which is not practical for everyone. You don't need to do that with this. Yeah, man, I'm very impressed with this with this little thing. It's way better than I thought it was going to be, not gonna lie. But I don't know, I think there's a lot of vapes that have this sort of small, pocketable, sleek look about them, and they don't perform well. And this is not one of them. Like, this has really surprised me in that aspect. So I think, yeah, as I said, the only pointers I've said there are what I would improve. But other than that, it's a brilliant vape, and I'm still reaching for it every single day, at least, if not every other. But honestly, most days I'm reaching for this just because of that ease of loading. That fact that you can just pour your grinder straight in the top. You don't have to mess about with the straw method and this, that, and the other. I prefer it. Big shout out to TVape for sending this one out. Massively appreciated. Yeah, this has been a very nice device to just get my head around and get used to from every step of the way. So that's the end of the review, people. Big shout out to everyone for being here. Massive shout out to everyone for getting involved, helping to grow the channel to this point. Because yeah, things like this wouldn't be even happening if it weren't for you lot watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, the rest of it, man. So big love, people. I appreciate every single one of you. I will see you on the next one. Peace.